So peace to the person who just rejoined the chat. If you just joined, there were two people in, then they left, and they came back. But peace to Bigo Live, because this will be replayed on Bigo Live, and peace to House of Healing LLC. So I do try to get my little meditation in for about the first 5 minutes. And I am kind of random when I go live. I did pre-schedule it for about 20 minutes, out. But this will be recorded. So peace, love, life, wholeness, and good vibes to whoever will play this back and receive the messages that come through tonight. I do want to speak about heart consciousness. This has been on my mind for several weeks and for several reasons. I'm honestly just really irritated with humanity right now. So, and I do a lot of, self reflection and honest self evaluation, which we should all do. And just trying to figure out, like, what is it that is so irritating to me about humanity, and like, why, what is it that's missing? What's the problem, And the problem is that, people don't have heart consciousness. Now, where this term came from, I'm sure that it has been used, and you can Google it and probably get a definition for it. But let me go, something, my microwave or something is making this little beeping noise, and I'm not going to do this. Let me figure out what's going on. Real quick. Okay, hopefully that took care of that. So I've been irritated with, like I said, humans. I had been, just been irritated with humans for a while, but, just putting my finger on what is the problem. Like, what is wrong with humanity? It's like Neo, he kind of, Morpheus was telling him, like, you knew that that something is wrong with the world, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And the thing that I see that is wrong with the world from my perspective is that people don't have heart consciousness. And like I said, I really don't even know where I got this term from. It was a term that just kind of sprang up in my mind. And like I said, I know you can probably Google it and get a definition, and it'd probably be pretty accurate. But this really was a term that just came up in my head, and I guess I'm supposed to go and look it up or whatever. But I just knew what it meant when it came up in my mind, because I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but I mean, I've kind of gotten around the idea of things being self-explanatory because I realized that, like, I'm built different. Not saying that I'm different, and I'm gonna say we are built different. So God's people are built differently from the inside out than, um, you know, the tears is what I refer to. Um, you know, People who don't have heart consciousness, and so I wanna break that down as I go forward. Um, you know, in this channeling, I do want to speak about, the ways that not having heart consciousness affects us. Um, Not just, affects us, but it affects the people that, we interact with, and, and also how having heart consciousness, um, how we need to be moving and interacting with, um, the majority of the world that does not have heart consciousness. And so, yeah. So, what is heart consciousness? Essentially, from my perspective, heart consciousness is the same thing that people refer to as Christ consciousness. Heart consciousness is Christ consciousness because heart consciousness is being conscious of the Christ within. So we talk about the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of God being within, or the Spirit of God being within, whatever your perspective may be. So if the kingdom of God is within, in what part of our being, okay, is this spirit or is this kingdom located? And when I'm speaking about the heart, I'm not speaking about the physical organ of the heart. However, the physical organ is very much connected to the spiritual or the sacred heart, from which all the issues of life and the springs of life flow. I just said something. The very center of your being is that green heart chakra, that emerald city, that Dorothy and the Tin Man and the lion and the scarecrow were headed to as they traveled down the yellow brick road. And so this emerald city, could it possibly be the home of that indwelling spirit that we refer to as God? That emerald city that was locked and had gatekeepers when Dorothy and her friends arrived at the door. And this is the human condition. Gatekeepers at the door of the emerald city of the heart center. Now, there is a purpose for guarding the heart. But locking the heart and blocking the heart then is blocking the flow of energy in motion. It's blocking the emotion, because you do this out of a sense of or a need to protect the heart. It's a defense mechanism that happens when we get hurt or we feel threatened. And most people begin to do this at a very young age. And it's mostly unconscious, something that seems to just automatically happen once you have been hurt emotionally or traumatized emotionally. Divine discovery, good to see you, love, the synchronicity at its best. I was just, let me put this up on my screen so I can read it. I was just talking about the whiz and comparing it to my life, then got the late notification of you being live. Absolutely. That's what I love about this path, divine discoveries, is that everything like when you're tuned in, you know what I'm saying? When you're tapped in, when you're turned on, the language that the divine is speaking. You know what I'm saying? It's a very exclusive language that the divine speaks. Yes, the divine speaks to us in synchronicities. In because I was just talking about, well, I'll bring that up later because I don't want to get distracted. But yeah, I was just talking about a synchronicity that I was telling my daughter about this synchronicity that was so, oh my God, it was very magical. And that's the thing I love about this path, is that it's so it's very mystical and magical and extraordinary, and there's nothing ordinary about it. You know what I'm saying? It's very worthy of the divine, the language. um, it's a language of love. It's a but again, it's magical. There's this very magical quality to the path. But when a person's heart is not open, that magic is not there. It's like, adding the perception of the heart is like adding seasonings to your food. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, like, without allowing the heart to play a role in the way that we perceive this reality, because most people perceive this reality and they interpret this reality through their mind, using the intellect to interpret and understand this reality. And this is exactly why we understand and don't overstand this reality. The mind was never meant to be the interpreter of this reality. The mind was meant to serve the heart, meaning that the heart holds the desires of the soul. And when the mind, the intellect, becomes the servant of the heart, then it is employed to carry out the desires of the heart. And this is how they work together to put you into heaven, because heaven is you living out the desires of your heart. But the only way that you're going to achieve that is if you bring your mind under the submission of the heart. The mind must understand that we have to work together in order to manifest the desires of the heart. So these two energies, these two aspects of self, cannot be opposing forces, and they need to know their roles and their places. Now I can personify these energies, but then that will ruffle some feathers, but I don't mind. The intellect, represented by the human brain and the thinking mechanism and the masculine energy. It is a masculine energy that we all carry, some more than others, but we all carry this energy. And then the emotional body, the heart center, the emotions, is a feminine energy that we all carry, some more than others, but an energy nonetheless that we all carry. From the heart center and the feminine energy, which can be embodied in any sexual orientation, by the way, the feminine energy is a nurturing, healing, loving energy by its very nature. This is the energy of the heart, the energy of the feminine aspect of God. And the masculine aspect is the the one who visualizes and then builds the vision, and the one who takes the action to actually bring this into manifestation in the physical form. Two energies that should not be opposing energies or competing energies, but energies that should be complementary, and yet they should know their roles. And because we have been taught by religion and, patriarchal societies that are largely misogynistic, to say the least, um, we have personified these energies, and we can look currently at the roles that we have taken as the masculine and feminine energies, believing that the intellect, the masculine energy, should lead the heart, that the mind should lead the heart. Us personifying these energies and perpetuating this belief is what has gotten us in the situation that we are in our current reality today. But welcome to the Great Awakening, the time of change, the golden age of enlightenment, the age of Aquarius, the new thing that God is doing. So the visual that I get a lot for what's happening with the energy within our bodies, on the planet, and in the cosmos is that it's a changing of the guards that is happening. I see the yin yang symbol, and I see it flipping over. It's like the dark part is on top, and then it's flipping over, and then the light part is on top, and then it's flipping over again. And this is the way that this energy has been moving. But for a long time, because the energy doesn't move as fast or as quickly as we would like for it to. So, for a long time, that dark part of the yin yang symbol was on the bottom. Now let me explain why. Because the dark part of the yin yang symbol is actually the feminine aspect of the symbol. That dark, intuitive womb of creation that the woman is. That blackness that girdles the gestation of a new soul entering into this reality from a higher realm. This is the black, dark side of the yin yang symbol, that feminine energy, the womb of creation where magic happens. And this is why the divine feminine energy, a divine feminine being, is always going to have this magic, this magical aspect to themselves. They're always going to be mysterious and intuitive and super deep, super deep. I do guided meditations, divine discoveries, for my masterclass students. So yeah, I do those, but no, YouTube, um, it's so toxic on YouTube for God's people. You know what I'm saying? It's a really toxic environment. I don't even really, I enjoy sharing the messages when I come on here at night and I'm not being distracted by anyone. I'm not meaning by you. I mean, like, I can go live and I can just give the messages without because I was trying to do this in Bigo at the same time, and I saw that I was being distracted, so I have to do these in two different sets. So I do like to be able to come here and like have the serenity enough to just give my downloads the way that I'm getting them. But at the same time, there's so many people who have not been chosen, right? And they love to, like, they hate you, they envy you, and they hate you at the same time. And so it's like they're always copying, and they're always like they like to steal people's intellectual property. You know what I'm saying? It's like they like to steal your ideas and the very words out of your mouth, and I just don't like to feed the narcs. And so that's why I don't give too much of my energy and time very much on here, because I swear there are people who just wait for me to go live so they can have content. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, let me talk about you, and let me try to put you down, and let me try to belittle you. But at the same time, I'm doing everything in my power to try to mimic you. And it's just annoying. And I just prefer not to give my energy to that. But yes, now for the people who have joined because I believe you did join, and if not, go ahead and do that. I will share some things with the people who joined the channel as a member. Then I will share some of the guided meditations, and some of the other things that I do with my masterclass students, like the Reiki classes and things like that I'm doing. I won't share everything because my masterclass students, they have paid, for a lifetime, and they have paid, a nice amount of money to get exclusive information from me. So I will share, a lot of information with the people who join the channel, but I will share even more information with the people who join the master class. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Divine discoveries, that's not going to matter. Whatever tier you join on, I will share. I will share. Some of the guided meditations with everyone who joins the channel. So there will be different things for different benefits for different tiers. There will be like a lot of behind the scenes things in footage and things that I'm going to be sharing, because I am bringing my family on here. House of Healing is a family. We're very close, you know what I'm saying? And so I am going to be bringing my family. We're going to be going live. We're going to be showing you guys some behind the scenes footage, of us just having fun, hanging out, and also, planting things and growing things and cooking and things like that I will definitely be posting for the members only. And so yeah, you'll definitely be included in the guided meditations as well. Now there will be some meditations where I include Reiki and the sound therapy, the color therapy, and all of these things. Some of those things will be on the higher tiers, but the guided meditations for sleep, relaxation, anxiety, things like that, I will share with everyone. Okay. So, but again, back to heart consciousness. And the reason why this has been on my mind is that, like I said, the problem with humanity, and everyone knows how I feel about narcissists, okay? And narcissists are people who they have like zero heart consciousness. Their hearts are completely blocked, which makes them inhuman, if you ask me, because they are capable of anything without any consciousness of the pain or the trauma or whatever they may be causing to other people, because they're not conscious of their own feelings. A person who is looking, I don't even want to say looking out of the peak hole of their hearts, we're going to talk about those people later, but a full-blown narcissist, and I'm not here to just talk about narcissists, but I'm going to relate this to them, and use them as a contrast, because they are people who have no heart consciousness whatsoever, and which means they're not conscious whatsoever of their own emotions or feelings. A full-blown narcissist, a malignant narcissist, such as Dr. Sam Vaknin, who teaches about this. And he has admitted from his own mouth. Now, Sam Vaknin he has diagnosed as a malignant narcissist, but he's also a doctor, and he's very honest about the way that a narcissist thinks, and their motives and their motivations, and the fact that they do not emote, meaning that they don't feel anything. Okay, they practice all of their lives mimicking human emotions and the facial expressions and the micro expressions and all of these things, and they use the guise of emotion to manipulate, and they use the fact that you really are an emotional being if you are an empath, which is why they are attracted to empaths, because they find empaths very easily manipulated due to the fact that they are so emotional. Okay. And so this is their chosen prey, because they feel that they are stronger than an empath because they don't emote and the empath does. And they think that that gives them, control over the empath. And until the empath wakes up and, you know, realizes what's going on and understands that your emotions are the toy, okay, that this demon is playing with. And the way that you outsmart and outwit the narc demon is to gain control over your emotions. When the empath has gained control over their emotions, it's game over for the narcissist. Okay? But the reason why the narcissist is so sadistic and so diabolical, okay? The reason why the narcissist is malignant, a cancer to society, and definitely to the body of God, is because their heart is completely blocked. Regardless of what reason that it's blocked, it is blocked. Meaning that, because this is the thing with most empaths. Empaths know that a narcissist's heart is blocked. And a lot of us know the reason why it is blocked. And this is your weakness here. You know the reason. Or you believed whatever reason that they told you. Because you know the reason, if maybe they were abused or neglected. This is what an empath is always going to, think that happened to someone to make them to be so evil. But those are not the only ways that a narcissist is created. A narcissist can also be created by being overindulged as a child. And these are the narcissists that are malignant, that are diabolical, that turn into sociopaths and psychopaths, because they have never had to hold themselves accountable for anything, and they have never had to be conscious of anyone else's feelings. So after around the age of 25, 30, somewhere between that, in the development of the brain, the temporal lobe is solidified around between these ages. And once that temporal lobe has been programmed to be a certain way, that person's personality is pretty much hardwired. Of course, there are subtle changes that will happen, especially with a normal person. Now, with a normal person, they have to work at making changes, and it has to be a voluntary. So I'm not saying that after a certain age you can't change. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that certain things are set in place as far as your core personality. And what people don't understand about a narcissist, and a narcissist who has narcissistic personality disorder, I'm sorry that that they have NPD. NPD is just what it says. It's a personality disorder. So this is not something that you can correct, because it is a disordered personality, meaning that the way that they act is their personality. Okay, it's not something that they can heal from. You know what I'm saying? This is who they are. And so it's not like they were ever, the way that you are. It's not like they were ever what we call normal. And then, something happened, and and then they became this, and all they need is to heal, and they'll go back to how they were. This is their personality, regardless of whether, whatever trauma may have happened, or whatever overindulgence or whatever may have happened to cause these people to be this way. The fact is that the heart is locked. Okay, and after it's been locked beyond the age of 25 or 30, it's not opening back up without some intense work on their part, which the disorder by its very nature will not allow, because the disorder by its very nature is the fact that, it basically is the fact that a narcissistic personality refuses to self-reflect, refuses to hold themselves accountable or do any honest self-evaluation. So the disorder by its very nature prevents the narcissist from doing any of the things that would actually help them to open the heart, or to unlock it, or unblock it. The nature of the disorder is the condition of having a blocked heart. Okay, and so that blocked heart, it's blocked. And so in order to get any teachings, to receive any wisdom or knowledge, or even love, or anything that could possibly be beneficial to helping to unblock their heart, so that emotion and real feelings can begin to flow, so that they can be more human, okay, is blocked by the nature of the disorder itself. So it's like, speaking from the spiritual perspective, it's the devil. And the devil has essentially taken over, moved in, and locked out anyone who can ever come, who would ever, especially the people who would be coming closer to this person, and um trying to what's the word? Ignite, facilitate. Neither one of those words is the correct word that I was looking for. Come through, Spirit. Just trying to cause that person to feel, okay, to help them to feel. If someone is trying to come in and love that person, or nurture, or help that person to become conscious of their feelings, to have heart consciousness, these are the people that person is going to hurt the worst, because this person is essentially possessed by a devil who wants to remain in possession of this person's heart and mind. And so if you're coming, if you're trying to get close to them, and you're trying to help them in any way, you are going to become the target of this person. So this is why narcissists hurt the people closest to them worse than they hurt anybody, because it's not them, okay, but it is them, because the devil has moved in and taken over, meaning that vessel belongs to the spirit that's within it, whether it was somebody that you thought you loved, or you fell for the mask that they were wearing when you met them, if you fell for the love bombing and all of that, none of that was real. The real person is that personality that they're showing you. Okay, and so I'm sure that Maya Angelou had encountered a narcissist when she said, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. Okay, the thing is that when a narcissist shows you who they are, It leaves you in absolute disbelief. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. You cannot believe that someone who is absolutely empty of God exists. It is absolutely life-changing, mind-blowing, and traumatizing. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. When you have to accept that there are godless people out here. Because, see, you don't know anything about that because you have the heart of God. An empath feels what God feels. We can't even fathom a human being. We always imagined, just like the narcissist does, that everyone else is just like us. Okay? They project their internal garbage onto the world in the same way that the empath projects our love and our goodness onto the world. And so in our projecting our goodness onto the world, we were not able to see that not everyone is good. Just like the narcissist is not able to see that not everyone is after you. Not everyone is bad. Not everyone is an enemy. The empath needs to see that not everyone thinks like you, acts like you, loves like you. Not everyone perceives the world like you. Not everyone has pure intentions like you. The empath had to learn that the hard way. And it has left most of you in disbelief. And beyond disbelief is that true path to spirituality, that valley through the valley of the shadows of death that I talk about all the time, that path that many religious people have yet to even step upon. They're just talking about it. There's a big difference in knowing the path and walking the path. And you have not begun to walk the path until you have been completely stripped bare of your ego. And a lot of y'all ain't even died yet. A lot of people have all the intellect in the world, has memorized every scripture and can regurgitate every scripture in the Bible, and still have yet to step foot onto the true spiritual path to oneness with God. They still have yet to even begin to cultivate a true relationship with God. There are people who believe that the closest thing to a relationship with God that they can have is to memorize and regurgitate the Bible. And there are those who believe that the Bible has instructed them to not think for themselves. That any time that you need to know something or you need to hear a word from God, you got to go to the Bible to hear it, as if God is not still speaking today. It's not about the religion, it's about the relationship. And in order to cultivate a relationship with the true and the living God, and you will hear somebody who reads the Bible and go to church, they always talk about the living God. But where is God living in these people? It's just words. These people are just going through the motions. They talk about God. You know what I'm saying? They use God to judge and condemn other people, but they don't even know God, and God doesn't know them. I said what I said. They don't have a relationship with God. And then they got the nerve to demonize people who actually do have a relationship with God. That should sound familiar to these religious people, because this is the same thing that happened to the people that had a relationship with God in the Bible. No one believed what they came to say. They didn't want to believe the truth that they were speaking. They didn't believe the visions that they were given. They accused them of witchcraft and casting out demons by demons and all sorts of other foolery and nonsense. And it still goes on today, because those people didn't have heart consciousness, and these people don't have heart consciousness, meaning that they don't have a relationship with God, because in the heart center is where the kingdom is within you, and God lives in the kingdom. Okay? It's not rocket science. It's very simple. The truth is very simple. But when your heart is locked, your first eye is not open. The first eye that they call the third eye, which is the only eye that truly sees, it ain't even open. See, your first eye is connected to your heart, and it's about as open as your heart is. I just said something. Your first eye, the eye that sees, the eye that is single, that fills your whole entire being with light, is about as open as your heart center is. And there are people who are living their lives looking through the lens of the peek hole that they have slid open in their heart. And the rest of the heart is locked down. Clank, clank. But they claim to be God's people. But God's people are as bold as a lion. Why are you peeking out the peek hole of your heart? God's people are not peeking out the peek hole of our heart. Okay? We're not. See, it's coming down to, like I said, the changing of the guards. The feminine energy, a divine feminine energy, her heart is wide open. She is the bravest person on the planet. All these people walking around here believing that their physical strength makes them strong. I dare you to open your heart. I'll wait. We waiting, ain't we, divine discoveries? I want all these tough people to do that simple thing. I dare all of these Bible scholars who want to use the Bible to condemn people and preach fire and brimstone and are sitting so self-righteous. I dare you to demonstrate the greatest of all these commandments you always trying to throw at everybody. I dare you to demonstrate the greatest of the commandments, the second, which is like unto it, the newest, which is the same as it, and the final commandment, which is to love one another as I have loved you. By this shall all men know that you are disciples of the Most High, that you have love, not judgment, not correction, not rebuke, but love for one another. All of these other commandments, thou shalt not, those, the narcissistic part of people loves to hold on to those thou shalt nots and to put them on other people, but they don't judge themselves by that same rule of thumb. They like to appear to, but they really don't. And they don't know. See, they don't know where God is located. So they really think there's certain things that they can hide from God. Like the fact that you are not following all of the commandments, that you're throwing at everybody else, that you're judging and using to condemn and turn people away from God with. You think God can't see that? That right there is an insult. That is blasphemy. God sees everything. It's closer to you than your hands and your feet. You don't get away with anything. And he's not looking at you from down in the sky and from any other location than within your own being. So no matter where you go, there you are. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Why? Because God can see what's in your heart. You can't hide nothing from God. You can't hide anything from God. Exactly, divine discoveries. But they so tough, though. Especially the narc. Okay, they want to torture you and torment you until you break down, and they get enjoyment off watching you express your emotions because they can't express theirs. But then they got the nerve, the audacity to call you weak because you actually feel your feelings. And they peeking out the peek hole of their heart. They are peeking out the peek hole of their heart, or they too scared to even create a peek hole in it. It's completely blocked off and locked, and they think they're safe inside where it's dark, no light, no understanding, no understanding, no energy moving in, no energy moving out. God's people know that we're safe wherever we go, heart wide open. Yes, it's been hurt. And guess what? I fell. It took me out. I died and I came back. Y'all scared to die. Y'all say y'all follow Jesus, right? Didn't Jesus die and didn't Jesus come back? Yeah, we waiting on you to take that trip down that yellow brick road and through that valley of the shadow of death. All these strong, tough Hebrew Israelites and all these people out here yelling at folks on the corner and all of that. I dare you to walk through the valleys that I've walked through. I dare you to die the death that I've died. It's obvious to me that many of you ain't even stepped on the path yet. You fear the God that I serve. You scared of the love that I carry. I dare you to open your heart. You know, I dare you. I dare you, all of you religious people, to really mean it when you say, create in me a clean heart, oh God, and renew a right spirit within me. Because y'all spirits ain't right. They really think that they can memorize the scriptures and regurgitate it and not know what it means, and actually think that God requires them to not know what it means. And they that's gonna get you in. The Bible told me to lean not on my own understanding, and they interpreted that with their intellect to mean that the Bible is telling them to not think for themselves. That's what you get when you interpret something without the wisdom of the heart. Everything is literal when the Bible is a metaphysical book. For the word of God is living and active, sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing to the division of soul and of spirit, of joints and of marrow, and discerning the thoughts and intentions of the heart. I just said something. The word of God is living and active. What does that mean? They think, I ain't even gonna get into it. I'm not even gonna get into what they think because it's ridiculous. Let me just break it down by saying they think. And that's the problem. There's a difference between thinking and knowing. Thinking is something that you do with the intellect and with the brain. Knowing is something that you feel in the heart, something that you do in the heart. Okay? Knowledge is of the intellect, wisdom is of the heart. And so you will never have a relationship with God, and you will never have the true understanding of this word that is living and active until you open your heart. God Okay, I'm back. So can you hear me? Because I want to make sure. Yeah, like I said, that the devil don't want me to speak. I get these types of interruptions all the time. If you guys remember, this happened the last time that I was live, and right before I went live, both times my throat chakra was also being irritated. But that's that just comes with the territory, and we just push through it. It's just gnats that you have to push out of the way. So I was in that community personally. That judgment is real, even when you do your rights, always your wrongs. I mean, even when you do your rights, always your wrongs. I have nightmares about it till this day. Yes, divine discoveries. We got to, we have to, as I was saying before I went down, it doesn't matter how much of the Bible a person has remembered, how much they can regurgitate and they've remembered, and how obedient they think they're being to this God that they see as, a punisher and an oppressor, and somebody's just sitting up checking off every little mistake that you make, waiting to punish you. That is a narcissist, okay? And that's what they describe God as, because they don't know God, and they can only imagine God to be an exaggerated version of themselves. Okay. So a narcissist thinks that, the only way to show them that you love them is to do everything that they tell you to do with no question, to be an obedient slave, even when you don't understand. Don't question them, even when it doesn't make sense, even when it's going to be detrimental to your own well-being or even your children's well-being. Do what I say, and don't question. Now, you can look at the Most High like this, but I have always gone to my God with my questions and always got the answers. So I can't, you know what I'm saying, I can't rock with that. And I know that these are people who don't know God. These are people who imagine God to be just like they are. And I mean, anybody knows that that's just a narcissist, and that's a narcissist way of seeing things. Okay, so I mean, if we're going to keep believing in that, you're never going to know the true God that created you out of love. The Most High God is a compassionate creator above all things, a healer, a teacher, a comforter, a fixer of all things broken, not this oppressor and this judge and this punisher. Okay? But the prime creator created everything from his own being, and God is love. I just said something. People go to church for 30 and 40 years, but still have an unclean spirit. They still have an ugly heart. They still are not loving the neighbor as the self, and they don't even know God. So they can't be loving God with all their heart and all their mind, because God said, if you love the least of my children, then you are loving me. Now, anybody who understands this connection, they know, because God is in his children. So if you are loving the neighbor as the self, then you are loving God. But if you think God is outside of yourself, when you're interpreting this world through your mind and through your, I'm sorry, not through the mind, but through the intellect, with the brain, you are going to take things literally, and all you see is the illusion of separation from God and one another. All you see are other people. When you are interpreting the world through your heart, you see extensions of the self, and all of us as extensions of God, connected and as one, united, and love would be the glue. It's an energy, it's a frequency, it's a vibe, and it is the glue that connects God's people, because we all resonate on that same energy, frequency, and vibration. And therefore, we are not, you know, in this world, but we are not of this world, but we're in it. So it's like we're in this world and we see what's going on in it, but we're on our own vibe. We have our own particular vibration, which is why a tarot reader can tap into the divine feminine collective, the divine masculine collective. The divine feminine and masculine are people who have become whole, who have healed, okay, and embraced their divinity, and who have raised their vibration above the influence of the low vibrations that the narcissists and people who are looking through the peak hole of their hearts resonate on. We have eyes that see and ears that hear and a heart that feels. I just said something. I will give them one heart, and a new spirit I will put within them. I will remove the heart of stone from their flesh and give them a heart of flesh. This is the Bible. This is Ezekiel 11, verse 19. I will give them one heart, and a new spirit I will put within them. These are the chosen people. The chosen people feel what God feels. One heart, one spirit, connected in love, because God is love. That spirit is love. So God's people have God's spirit within them. They carry the energy of love. They are empathic. They are healers, because the energy that is used to heal is pure compassion. And this is the part that people who are interpreting this world through their mind, literally, this is what they are missing. You know what I'm saying? This is what they're missing. The field, the torus field that surrounds the human body is generated from the heart center. It is the electromagnetic field of the heart. This is what creates your aura, or the human torus field. The energy coming from your heart, the electricity and magnetism that have come together within your heart center, that now you can take that energy and literally share it with other people. This is what Reiki energy is. It is heaven and earth meeting in the heart of the practitioner, and the practitioner being able to take that energy and share it with other people, to take any energy and transmute it into love and use it to heal and to bless. Not only by touching you, by thinking of you, by speaking of you, by speaking to you. It's an energy, a frequency, a vibration that can be seen in the actions of the people who carry it. They move, they speak, they operate from a foundation of love. They know that all of the commandments that religious people use to condemn others and be self-righteous should be hung on a foundation of love. They were told to hang all the law and all the prophets on love, but they forgot that part, the most important part. I had a religious person tell me the other day, love was not the most important. I've had religious people tell me, love is why we have lost wars. Love is why we have been caught off guard and people took us out. You know, we can't be operating out of love. So they just ignore the fact. They want to talk about the commandments because they say we show the Lord the love, but we show how we love the Lord by keeping his commandments. All of the commandments except the greatest. And they ignore the fact that God said, a new commandment I give you. Okay? They forgot the fact that the Bible said all of the laws are summed up in this one law. Love the neighbor as the self. All those other laws and thou shalt not, They are encompassed in the law of love. If you are operating from a foundation of love, you will naturally not do all of those other things that you were told not to do. The Most High would prefer that you focus on the things that you were told to do rather than what you were told not to do. This is why he came back and said, a new commandment I give you. Because y'all are confused, you're misusing the law, you have misunderstood the law. I didn't come to do away with the law. I came to uphold it. The same law that I told y'all before, but you didn't understand. So this is the summation of all the law. Love one another as I have loved you, and love the neighbor as the self. What part don't you understand? I think the part that people don't understand is the love itself. They don't know what love is. So how about that be the goal of your journey? Because when you set upon a journey to learn and figure out what love is, you set upon a journey of self-discovery, self-realization, and a journey to learn and discover who and what God is. And what you're going to figure out is where God is. As in the water, face reflects face, so the heart of man reflects the man. I just said something. This is Proverbs 27:19. As in the water, face reflects face, so the heart of man reflects the man. So as you look into the water and see the reflection of your physical body, your heart is a reflection of who you are. Shall I read it again? As in the water, face reflects face, so the heart of man reflects the man. Saying that your heart is the very core of who you are. It is the very essence of who you are. It is the temple of the Spirit of God, which is love, which is God. As in the water, face reflects face, so the heart of man reflects the man. How can someone comprehend the meaning and say they believe that this word is a living word and not understand that this is telling you that your heart and the condition of your heart is a reflection of who you are? So if I say to a person who has a closed up heart, looking through the peek hole of their heart, you're very cold, you're emotionally unavailable, you are insensitive, you hurt my feelings. And they say, no, I don't. Maybe you need to whatever. But this person will admit that, I don't really open my heart that much. I'll say, I might open it 50% because I think this is how it, because as most people think that we're only supposed to open it a little bit. You can't open it all the way. That's most people's worst fear, is that you can't open your heart all the way. You're going to be stupid. You're going to be gullible. You're going to be all of these things that, but if you open your heart the only way you can be God and see God is to open your heart all the way. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. See, when your heart is pure, you're not afraid to open it. Yes, you know that there are monsters out there, but you also know that your individual reality is a reflection of your internal state of being. And so if I wish to enter heaven, then I must open my heart, because my heart is the portal, and it is my heart's desires that I wish to experience. That's what heaven is, the experience of your heart's desires. Correct me if I'm wrong. And so your heart must be open in order to enter heaven. It is the portal. It is the generator of the reality of heaven. Because the experience of heaven is the experience of living within your heart's desires, the experience of living within your own heart center. So if it's locked, if it's blocked, it's impossible. You have blocked out God, you have blocked out heaven, you have blocked out love. They are all one and the same. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. This is John 14:27. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. The reason why a person blocks their heart off is because their heart has been troubled. Their heart is afraid. There's fear in the heart. This is why we lock things. We don't want anyone to get in. We have to protect it. With my whole heart I seek you. Let me not wander from your commandment to love. Psalm 119, verse 10. With my whole heart, not half, not the peak hole size, my whole heart, I seek you. And that's the only way that you will find, is if you seek with your whole heart. I dare you. I challenge you. I encourage you to open it. That's the first step. All the memorizing and regurgitating of the scriptures, all of the going through the motions without the foundation of love is fruitless. So if you wish to bear fruit from the seeds that you have planted in the soil of your heart, as desires that you wish to see blossom into your reality, the heart needs some sun. It needs some water, meaning that it needs light. It needs new understanding. Create in me a clean heart, oh God, and renew in me a right spirit. If it's locked, if it's blocked, there's a shadow over the heart. There's no light that's getting in. There's no water to the soil. Water is emotion. There's no water. See, the reason why we have to open our hearts if we wish to see heaven, and the reason why the empath, when you realize that a person's heart is not open, the reason why you have to put distance between you and that person is because they will always be hurting your feelings. Because your heart is wide open, you feel your feelings very deeply, as you should. And then you're dealing with someone who doesn't feel their own feelings and therefore could not possibly be considering yours. They will always be saying and doing things to hurt your feelings without even intending to, because their actions, their words are said without consideration for their own feelings, and so therefore not for anyone else's. And so it's not that they intend to hurt your feelings, but because they're not conscious of their own, there is no heart consciousness there. They're not going to be conscious of yours. And yet you are acutely aware of your own feelings. And so if they do end up doing and saying things to hurt your feelings, and then you want to talk about your feelings, then they'll go on to dismiss your feelings. Again, this may or may not be intentional. A lot of times it's not intentional, but they dismiss your feelings by not being willing to participate in the conversation where you're going to express your feelings. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. You never get to express your feelings with someone whose heart is not open. See, conversations are an exchange of energy. It's an alternating current from the listener to the speaker and vice versa. But with someone whose heart is not open, the speaker will speak and their words will bounce off of that closed heart, because a closed heart equates to a closed first eye and closed ears. Only God's people have eyes that see and ears that hear. Space Ghost, I see you, love. Good to see you, babe. Peace, love, light, and wholeness. My wrench gang is in the building. Yeah, I've been here for a minute. I've been here for an hour and a half almost, Space Ghost. I don't mind. I will come on here if nobody is in here and give my downloads. So yeah, I'm back. I will, I'll be being here more consistent, and I will be camming up. When I going forward, it's just one of those nights where I just felt downloads coming in, and there was things on my mind, and I really needed to get these downloads off about heart consciousness, because people really need to wake up. People are wasting time, wasting energy. You know what I'm saying? It's about being real, for real, for real. And so I was actually getting ready to go, but I was trying to, because I talk to a lot of religious people, and I'm not religious. You know what I'm saying? Even though people may perceive me as that, because some of the things I say you can find in the Bible, but you can find some of the things I say in other books as well. The Bible is just a book. It's not God. God is God. Okay. And so that's what, by whatever name that you call God. God is a spirit. God is not a book. And so people have relationship with the Bible, and they think that that's the only relationship they can have with God. And so, they're missing a lot. You've been in school, busy, but 9 months until I receive. Hey, Space Ghost, we're going to have to celebrate, babe. Congratulations. Congratulations on that. Sounds like you've been focused. Okay, focused. I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's there is some profound truth in the Bible, but the people that everyone who, there was so many different scribes in the Bible, and every one of them added something to it that was not dictated by God or anything divine. And so to read it, you have to use your own spiritual discernment. In order to even understand and know what's true in the Bible or not, you have to have a relationship with God. You got to have a relationship with the spirit that's within you. Ain't no God outside of yourself. There is no God outside of you. The God that you worship that's so great and greater than you and all of that is within you. And I know people say it all the time, but I'm going to prove it. You know what I'm saying? Going forward, I mean, it's time to wake up at this point. You know what I'm saying? The only way that people are able to do any sort of rituals that work is if there is some power within you. And if there is no other source of power, okay, in this universe, it's all God, the yin and the yang, it's all God. The Bible is a metaphysical book that a lot of people just don't understand. And like I said, every scribe that added something into it. Okay. So we just need to be real with that. You have to be discerning. But people don't have a relationship with God. They have a relationship with that book. Therefore, that book has become their God. And if they really want to walk the path, they have to step onto the path and actually walk it. There's a difference in knowing the path and walking it. You know what I'm saying? They think they know this path. You don't know anything until you've experienced it. So the things that I teach about, I teach from experience. And it is really a pet peeve of mine. It's a trigger for me when people try to teach about things that I know that they haven't experienced. Or they will sit there and say they ain't experienced nothing. I had a perfect childhood. I ain't been through nothing. I've been blessed. They think that means I've been blessed all my life because I ain't been through nothing. But then how could you have any wisdom or anything to share with anybody? And how could you help anybody else heal from anything if you don't even know what that looks like? So, people, they dig their own holes when they be sitting up here trying to look so superior when really you just look very inexperienced and like you don't know what you're talking about. Like, I would much rather learn from someone who has gone through what I'm going through and who can show me that they've gotten out of it than somebody say they ain't never went in. Okay. But anyway, so I was basically talking about having heart consciousness and how most people don't feel their feelings to the extent that they should. And this is the language that the divine is speaking to you. You know what I'm saying? That the heart center is the portal to the divine, and you have to be connected in your emotional body, that could be connected in your spiritual body to even know who and what God is. This is why God appears to be separate from people and outside of people, because they can't own that indwelling spirit. They don't acknowledge their own spirit. And so, this is very disempowering. And when you try to empower people, they want to call you the devil. When all I'm trying to tell you is that the God that you worship in is within you. So just internalize all of that, because then that equates to self-love. That equates to you creating abundance for yourself. That equates to you protecting yourself. That also equals loving God, because it's the same thing. It makes all the laws make sense as far as loving the neighbor as the self and loving God with all your heart and all this stuff they believe out of the Bible. If you understand that God is within you, then you understand it is within the people, and that the people are extensions of you, and y'all all are extensions of God. And love is the glue that binds y'all together. Love is not letting folks abuse you and being stupid. It is an energy and a frequency. It's a vibration that you can align yourself with. And you first have to align yourself with it, meaning self-love has to be in place. All of our lives, we hear people saying you can't love another person unless you love yourself. We see it, we hear that, but that's only words until you actually experience that and actually know what it means. Like, you literally don't have any love to give to anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Until you filled yourself up with it. And if you, whatever else you think you're giving, it's like I'm giving until you filled yourself up. Your version of love is going to include fear and insecurity, and it's going to include expecting something in exchange for the love that you give. Meaning that if I love you, I need you to love me back, or I'm going to die, or I'm going to be destroyed. I ain't going to be able to take it. I'm going to be hurt. Right? When you've learned to fill yourself up with love and you're full, then you don't care whether you get it back or not. It's lovely, it's beautiful when you do, and you always get it back, but it's not necessarily always from the people that you gave it to. And when you filled yourself up, you don't feel that sense of need from other people, and you know that you're plugged into an unlimited source. So I can give as much love as I please. I'm never going to feel depleted, and I don't need it back from you. So therefore, I'm not fearful of giving this love, and I'm not insecure about am I going to get it back, and I'm not waiting because I know it's coming back. I'm just going to enjoy all of the mysterious and beautiful ways that the universe brings it back to me. You know what I'm saying? That's an evolution in love, that love without any fear of losing anything, because I'm not trying to possess anything, but I'm detached. Okay? A codependent person can't imagine love without attachment. But that's the only true and healthy love that there is. Love is not possession. It's not ownership. It's not need. It's freedom. It's choosing. It's a choice. It's an energy. It's a frequency. It's a vibration. Something that you have to have within yourself before you can share that with another person. And so any other thing that you have that's not that yet equals codependency. If you need that other person, if you cannot live without that other person or place or thing, if you're nothing without that person, you're nothing with that person. I've said this before and I'm saying it again because, for one, Mercury is in retrograde and I'm feeling a lot of retrograde ass energy right now. But it's a good thing, because in the retrograde, I am back. I have, it's been about a year and a half. Let me see. I've been on Bigo Live for over a year now, about a year and a half. And I've been going for probably about a good 2 years. And yeah, I'm back, but I'm not who I was before when I left. Yeah, you will see some remnants, you know what I'm saying? But I'm still Oshun Ajay and all of that, you know what I'm saying? But I'm the unraveler, I unravel, okay? And I have been unraveled. I have gone through a whole spiritual death and rebirth, and I'm just easing my way back into, um, you know, the YouTube world, but I've never left social media. I've just been a host on another app and teaching on another app, and you know what I'm saying. I had to go connect with my soul tribe, and we went into business together, and we were very successful, and we're very close, and we love one another, and this is my spirit family, and yes, I'm going to they're going to be joining me live on here, and we're going to be what I'm saying, moving forward with the House of Healing family. We out here doing God's work, healing people for real in real life. And we're doing this with love and compassion. And that's why it works. Ever since my daddy died, I've been real calm and silent. Good, Space Ghost, because calm and silent is being alone with that indwelling spirit that I'm talking about. And my condolences for your father. And just know that, there really is no death. You know what I'm saying? The energy just transforms. And if we know what their energy feels like, then we know when they're with us. And we know also that we will also transform, and that there are reunions in heaven all the time. And when I say heaven, it's not a specific place, but it's a specific state of mind that then creates a state of being. And our minds are so powerful, we experience the reality just like we're experiencing this reality right now. You know what I'm saying? We just need to wake up and realize that we created it. And the only way that we're going to have that full realization and we're going to really understand the truth is if we begin to interpret this reality through our heart center. You know what I'm saying? Your heart got to have something. You can't just interpret this reality through your intellect alone and your mind. Where your heart, where your treasure is, there where your heart will be also. Okay? This is Matthew 6:21 from the Bible. Where your treasure is, there your heart will also be. Meaning that you will find everything that will make you happy, the most happy in this world, in your heart. I mean, I literally had someone try to argue with me or just didn't get it, how I was saying that the mind should be in submission, or the intellect should be in submission to the heart, because they have to work together to bring forth the heart's desires. Right? The heart has the desire, it gives it to the brain visualizes it, and you know what I'm saying, the mouth speaks it, and this is how it gets created. But they were like, no, I don't think that's how it's supposed to be. I don't think, because people are so worried about this competition between who leads who and who's first and who submits to who. And it's not about that. You know what I'm saying? It's just about knowing your role. The heart has the desires because that's where God lives. So the heart is telling you what God wants for your life and what God wills for your life. And when you align with that, it's what you will. This is what's going to make you happy. Okay? So then if you get your mind to agree with that and say, yeah, what my heart is telling me is true. Let me visualize what my heart is telling me. Let me think about that. Let me desire that. Let me create that with my mind. Let me talk about it. Let me speak and breathe life into that, what my heart is telling me. And then the mind gets to have that temporal experience of I see, feel, taste, smell, and touch all of the things that my heart has desired. So it gets its wishes fulfilled, and the heart's desires are fulfilled. So living inside of your heart's desires is heaven. Okay, I'm trying to turn this inside out for people, and I don't know why people can't understand it. The portal to heaven is through your heart. Okay, so if you walk through your heart center, you're going to see all of your heart's desires, and you're going to be living inside of them because you allowed your mind to create it. And in order for your mind to create your heart's desires, your mind must be brought under submission of the heart. Why wouldn't you? If you know that God lives in the heart, why would not the mind submit to the heart? You know what I'm saying? But we have such a hard time with this because the mind, the intellect, is a masculine energy, and the heart is a feminine energy. And we live in a patriarchal society that has taught people that the man is the head of the woman and God is the head of the man, when it's the other way around. Okay? The woman is intimately connected to God as the portal, bringing human beings straight from the higher dimensions through her very body into this world. But yet we let the man think that he is more connected to God. I didn't even know that. Like, I did not know this until I started talking to very intellectual men who consider themselves Bible scholars and stuff. I didn't know that men thought they was more connected to God. That's a joke to me. Like, I had no idea. And then that made sense because, okay, that's how we got a patriarchal society. And this is why we have such arrogant people. And I'm not saying that all men, it's only narcissistic men. Yes, there are just as many narcissistic women as there are men, but we're talking about this right now. We're talking about the patriarchal society that was built off the belief system that the man is the head of the woman and God is the head of the man. Okay? I don't believe that. Okay? The woman has always been intimately connected to God and intimately understood God and played more of the role of what God has played in our lives as the creator and bringing forth life into this world. I'm not comparing and making one more important than the other. I'm just telling you the roles. They've never had a problem trying to tell us our role when it was twisted. Okay? But now the yin yang symbol is flipping over. Okay? And the feminine energy is on top. And now all will be as it should be. All will be brought into balance. Because we all want to experience our heart's desires. But the only way that we're going to actually be able to live inside of our heart's desires, to enter into heaven, is if we bring the mind under submission to the heart. The mind has to help us to create what the heart desires. Does that make sense? Because people act like that don't make no sense. And all I have to do is, all I can do with that is accept that some people just don't have the ears to hear or the eyes to see this vision. Exactly, Space Ghost. The divine feminine is showing the masculine who's really running things. And the thing about it is, when you bring the mind under submission to the heart, meaning that the masculine energy submits to the feminine energy, we don't abuse that power, okay? Like they do. We don't abuse it. We don't bully and control you. We don't, you know what I'm saying? We're not selfish. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that all men are this way, but yes, for the most part, yes, men are not emotionally mature enough. You know what I'm saying? To not be that selfish, which is why things have gone the way that they have gone. I'm not saying that there's not women that cheat and dysfunctional. I'm talking about the divine feminine. And a divine masculine respects the divine feminine and understands the value of the divine feminine. We got that water, and nothing on this earth is going to live without that water. Okay? So they would want to learn to appreciate the water. With the bread of understanding, she shall feed him and give him the water of wisdom to drink. This is scripture. I am Oshun Ajay. I got that water. I know that the divine masculine cannot live without me. Now, I'm going to need all these other feminines to understand that they can't live without you, and to know your value, and to stop accepting being treated as if you are not that water. Everything on this planet needs you to survive. I'm going to need you to act like you know. So you have that water, which in the tarot represents emotions, the cups, the love. You naturally know how to do it, divine feminine. The aim of our charge is love that issues from a pure heart and a good conscience and a sincere faith. This is 1 Timothy 1 and 5 in the Bible. Okay? The aim of our charge, chosen ones, is love that issues from a pure heart and a good conscience and a sincere faith. Not just memorization and regurgitation, but a sincere faith, a pure heart, and a good conscience. Not using the word to condemn and manipulate and to breed fear, but using the word to edify, to enlighten, to heal, to bless. Okay. So, yes, the divine feminine is rising to create balance because there has been an imbalance. And for those who were comfortable in the imbalance, the balance feels unbalanced. I just said something. Let us draw near with a true heart in full assurance of faith, with our hearts sprinkled clean from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. I just said something. So I'm going to come back because I want to go more into bringing the mind under submission to the heart. This would be personified as the masculine submitting to the woman. What do you think will happen if the divine masculine submitted to the divine feminine? When a divine masculine places his treasures and his desires and his love, even his seed, in the hands, in the heart, in the womb of a divine feminine, what do? We multiply it. We create abundance. We don't abuse that power. We're not competing. We don't use it as power over the other, but we use it as power with the other. We are not competitive. We are not controlling. We don't need to be on top. We don't need to be feared. We don't think that to fear us is to respect us. We think that to respect us is to love us. And we think that to love us is to respect us, protect us, support us. And we will prosper everything you put in our hands. That's what a divine feminine does. But unless you are a divine masculine, you can't see that. You might just be in competition with the divine feminine. Okay? And that's a problem. That is evidence of someone looking through the peek hole of their own heart center, and yet they think they're strong. I dare you to come out. Okay? I dare you to come out. Open it. Because the unraveler will strip you bare in the spirit. I want to see you bare in the spirit. It takes a strong person to do that. So this is why I tell the empathic people on the planet, you are the strongest people on the planet. You are God's chosen vessels, because God's chosen vessels are carrying the spirit of God within them, which is love. And they not letting it come through a peek hole in their hearts, but it's flowing out fully and wholly, and it's blessing the world. See, many were called to do that, but few were chosen, because few chose to take that path. That path through the valley of the shadows of death, where you die, that ego death, that you go through that illusion of death, because the shadow of death is an illusion of death. The ego dies and the spirit emerges, fully alive, fully awakened, renewed. But most people won't even dare step foot on that path. This is why blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Because they're not scared to walk through that valley. They're not scared to die. Because they know that there is no death. They know that the spirit within me is life itself. They know because they've experienced that ego dying and that spirit coming to the forefront. And that's the only way you know. You can't know it by reading it. You can't know it by listening to someone else talk about it. You can't know it by believing what someone else has told you. You only know anything by experiencing it. You only know anything by experiencing. Every way of man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the heart. Why the heart? Why not the mind, the brain? You know what I'm saying? Why not some other part? Why the heart? I've never been afraid to die or to be transformed into pure loving energy. Absolutely, Space Ghost. God's people don't have no fear in our hearts. You know what I'm saying? People think that an empathic person is weak. They haven't met a Heyoka empath. Ain't nothing weak about us. And the main people that are calling you weak are the main ones peeking out the peek hole of their heart, afraid to feel their own feelings, but they got the nerve, the audacity to call you weak. God's people have the Spirit of God within us. We don't fear anything. We have already died and been resurrected. I will give them one heart, and a new spirit I will put within them. I will remove the heart of stone from their flesh and give them a heart of flesh. This is what happens when you die that spiritual death and you have that rebirth. And this is not something that you can fake, because many try it and it's obvious. And no, it's obvious because when a person has gone through a spiritual death and rebirth, there is a very visible transformation. Okay? It's obvious on an energetic level, but you can also see it. And so this is not something that you can fake. Yes, too afraid to walk in their truth. It always does catch up with them in the end, Space Ghost. I mean, how can you run from the truth? You know what I'm saying? It's preposterous. No matter where you go, there you are. You know? So it's all about the heart and being conscious of what's going on in the heart. Because if you're not conscious of what's going on in your own heart, you won't be conscious of the way that you are affecting other people's hearts. Meaning that if you have blocked off your heart so that you won't get hurt, you've blocked off your heart, you don't realize that you don't really feel to the capacity that you could be. You don't understand that you're interpreting the world mostly through your mind and the intellect. When you interpret the world to your heart, through your heart, music sounds better, food tastes better, colors are more vivid, you feel things deeper, the joy is deeper, you laugh louder, everything is better. It's like adding seasoning to your food. Okay? or eating food with no seasoning. Love is the seasoning. So if you're going to block off your heart, it's like you're taking all of the color and all of the seasoning and all of the feeling out of your whole life experience. What is the point? It's like you could be experiencing life in 4D color, 5D color, but you have chosen to experience it in black and white. That's what you do when you close off your heart. You strip all the color, all the life, all the taste, the flavor, all the spice out of life. And you're just going through the motions like a robot. You're just existing. Until you engage your heart in the experience, you are not living. You are the sleepwalkers, the walking dead. That heart ain't even working if it's blocked off. But you won't know that until you begin to live. I just said something. You will not know that you are dreaming right now until you wake up. As long as you are in the dream, it's very real to you. But I'm telling you, in real time, whenever you're hearing this, you are still dreaming. A dream within a dream within a dream. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up and remember that the aim of our charge is love that issues from a pure heart and a good conscience and a sincere faith. So let us draw near with a true heart and full assurance of faith, with our hearts sprinkled clean from an evil conscience and our bodies washed pure with pure water, pure emotion, pure love. Create in me a clean heart, oh God, and renew in me a right spirit. When you say this, don't send it outside, but send it inside. Internalize God. And in doing so, you will be empowered. Space Ghost, I love you. So good to see you, love. Whoever the other person is in the bushes, I'm probably one of my haters. You know what I'm saying? You know, but for all of the people who would, listen to this playback, I'm sending you all peace, love, life, and wholeness. And I will return. I will return. I'm going to be doing my daily downloads, mostly at night on YouTube. And I will be going live on Bigo Live in earlier in the day so that I can get both in. Okay. Teach us to number our days that we may get a heart of wisdom. Wisdom flows from the heart, my people. So if you want to know where God is, you will seek God and you will find God when you seek God with your whole heart. Not with your mind, but your whole heart. I love you back. Space Ghost, I will talk to you soon. Peace, love, life, and wholeness. And congratulations in advance. Talk to you later.